So about a month and a half ago, I was on stream. You guys might have seen it. If not, I'll link it below. And someone came on and they said they had bought $2 puts on Chesapeake Energy.
Oh, you have $2 puts. This guy's genius.
And I love Chesapeake Energy. I trade them so much. And recently, kind of back when this happened, they just done a reverse split. So one share of their stock turned into 100 shares of their stock, and their stock price, multiplied by 100. And when that happens, you usually have about a month or two of, peaked volatility. Stuff really moves because people are like, whoa, what happened? There's like a reverse split, what's going on? And combined with sort of the current, there's like so much movement in the energy sector with commodities and with energy companies. I have like got just so many long positions in like oil companies or natural gas companies that have, gone up 700% or 1,000%, something like that. And they've just been phenomenal. It's been a really great sector.
Energy has been a really interesting sector.
And so when this guy came on and he said, he had the puts, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I'd never swung trade Chesapeake Energy before. I had always just day traded it because they're kind of like a really volatile 9 to noon stock. Like you only really day trade them, right? And so you don't really want to hold that overnight usually because it is, those companies are very, very, very volatile overnight, which can work out to your advantage if you know how to use it to your advantage. But most of the time when you're just starting out, and really 80 to 85% of the time with these really risky companies, specifically with Chesapeake, they had started filing for bankruptcy. Obviously, if a company goes bankrupt, their stock's going to go to zero. Might not be true. We'll see how it works out. Hertz has kind of flipped lately with everything that's been going on. But usually when companies go bankrupt, their stock is worthless. And so you really want to see confirmation on any of the plays that you do, and they have to be quick.
Maximum 1 week trade.
I mean, maximum 1 week hold time.
And then within like 6 days, it should probably be like 60, 70, kind of within this range right here.
If you hold too long and then one night they go bankrupt, you can have a PG&E situation or PCG situation where the stock goes down 60% in the pre-market because they file for bankruptcy. There's a massive lawsuit or something. And so that's just kind of what was going on. And I learned about this really nice potential swing trade on Chesapeake. So first things first, in the short term, this guy kind of asked me what I thought he should do. And with the position, because he had puts, he'd probably made about 400% on them at the time.
What I would do here is I would wait for, I think it's pretty easily, like as long as the market stays down for the next couple of days. Like I said, these guys are probably going to go to 13, like without much resistance. I don't think it's going to be like that difficult for them to get to 13.
And so the initial price target I saw for them was like $13 as kind of a temporary bottom.
And when they get to 13, I would probably like sell half, maybe a third, maybe a sixth.
But it wasn't like a buying bottom because there wasn't really a setup with it. It was just kind of where it would naturally go to because it was a solid support level based on the past week or two after the split, right? And the news for the bankruptcy.
So I would probably want these guys at 13 before I made a move on them. Maybe 12 or 10. I think they'll go below this moving average pretty easily.
Instead, what happened is, like, I saw the stock, and I saw that I had really nice upside swing potential in, like, the medium term. And so what I did is I said, okay, well, look, if the stock goes over this price, like, bam, I want it.
They would have to break, I think, at least $25 for it to even, like, register with investors. I'm going to go on my phone right now. I'm going to open up the TD Ameritrade app, Thinkorswim app, and I'm going to set a notification. And if these guys hit $40, I think you have a really good play here if these guys break over $40. So I'm going to do a notification for these guys over $40.
It was $40. And so like I pulled out TD on my phone and I said notification. I said, hey, look, stock goes over $40. Let's get in this. Because those kinds of companies, when they're super, super, super low in the long term or in the medium term, they can have really quick retraces to moving averages. And an example that popped up to mind recently is a position I have that just broke the 1,000% club in ENLC. And also one in ET. I closed ET in a couple hundreds of percentages. But again, you have companies that are going very, 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 very far below the moving averages and then kind of coming back up into the 100 daily MA and hopefully to the 200 daily MA in the short term. And those are kind of, that was basically what I saw is like, wow, this has big swing trade potential. And essentially how I got a price target of about 70 or so bucks for Chesapeake.
Take this height right here and you add that to the top, and that's kind of your price target. As long as they close over this moving average right here, which is at like 39, if they kind of close at like 40, then they could maybe go to like 70.
So what happened after that was basically the most important thing. And my dream is to have like computer monitors all over the place, like a room that just has like 50 monitors in it, so that I can always have a chart on a stock and just perpetually like be able to glance at it. Because right now, like, I don't have that ability, right? So basically what happened is on the 4-hour chart and also on the daily chart, but more so on the 4-hour chart, there was an inverted head and shoulders set up on Chesapeake. And as soon as it broke out of the inverted head and shoulder setup, it just exploded. Within one day, I think the thing went from 15 bucks to $26 or so. And then in the pre-market, it opened up at like 40 bucks, which was today. And then they went up to 75 bucks a day, which is basically the target. And then they had 5 circuit breakers today, which was really crazy. They had 3 on the way up and then 1 at the top, and then 1 more circuit breaker on the way down after the top. And the top was at about 12.12, which is usually where you see peaks in kind of later day moves, is around noon. So it was a pretty simple top to kind of predict. And all around just insane. So it was actually really weird what happened. I have never seen this ever. I've used the thinkorswim app to create notifications. Like if a price goes above a certain price, give me a notification. And I set that notification, weeks and weeks ago. And the notification like went off in the app, but like usually when you get a notification, or you get a price notification, right? It shows up in your notifications feed on your phone. And I have a bunch of different TD accounts, so my notifications were separate from my trading account that I was using today, which was the Roth. I had notifications in the individual account, and so because of that, I didn't get the notification when I logged into thinkorswim, and I rely on my phone for that notification. And I don't know why. I have no idea what happened, but for the first time like ever, it didn't freaking show a notification in the notification feed and give the little thinkorswim ding, which I have no idea what happened. Basically what happens, if you don't know, this is kind of similar to a position that I had in stamps recently. I had a notification, of stamps, and basically if it went over that price, I was like, bam, gotta buy this stock. And I got the notification standing in the middle of a post office shipping out books. And I dropped everything, got on my laptop immediately. It was like 5 minutes till market close, and just hit the buy button on calls close to expiration as fast as possible. And then in like 2 days, the stock literally, it was insane. It just exploded. And that's why I take my notifications very seriously, because when I set a notification and it comes off, you buy. You just have to be quick on it. Really high success rate, like 89% of the time. So I didn't get a notification. So I didn't get a notification to buy it at 40 bucks, which is what it opened at this morning. If you bought the contracts that expired Friday, the calls, they're about $5 this morning, and at the peak, it was about 780% buying from the open to kind of closing at the peak, which was also actually kind of cool. If you look at the intraday, it was kind of like an ABCD setup. So definitely was a trade there. I'd say that's probably about a 400% trade, but I had a little bit of advanced knowledge coming into it. But where it gets really interesting and where I just could not believe my mind, like I said, I wasn't actually I didn't see the stock when it was doing an inverted head and shoulders setup after it crashed down into it. But oh my God. So basically you always do close to expiration with these plays because they are very quick plays. That's where it gets interesting, because last Thursday the stock was 15, right? And when a stock is 15 or so, the highest strike call options that you can buy expiring today, or not today, but expiring Friday, was 36, right? So for me, the further out of the money you go, the more money you make if you're right. And I was pretty damn confident I was going to be, well, I didn't make the trade, so I guess you can't really, I can't really say if I didn't have money in it. It's kind of hard to tell. Because Chesapeake Energy, like I said, they're a day trade stock. They are not predictable. They will do whatever they want. They are a crazy company. Because I've seen so many times when this stock will go up 20 or 30% in the pre-market, the market will open, the shorts will get squeezed out, and the stock will double in a day. But anyway, because 36 was literally a 300% move for the stock or something crazy like that, the call options were worth literally nothing. There were no buyers. You could get the calls if you look that far out of the money, the options shade, for a penny, where you had sort of these worthless options that were trading at essentially zero with very low liquidity. And these are the contracts. These are the kinds of contracts where you can put a bid in for a penny and it looks amazing because this is a 36 strike. People at 35 are paying 0. People at 34 are paying 0. People at 33, like no one's paying any money. So if you will like pay people money, it's insane. People will write those contracts. If it happens, what you're gonna see happen is really similar to something that Stellar did a couple years ago.
And here's where it is right here, right? So the coin, basically they were at like 0, like a penny. They went to like 9 pennies, and then they went to like 30.
Again, I wasn't looking at the actual history when this was last Thursday because I just didn't see the setup in time, and I wasn't actively monitoring it, which obviously I should have been. But I am fairly certain that you could have gotten like 24 calls for a penny. And it would have, you know, if you did that, you would have basically tripled the figures that we're about to go through. And again, sometimes it's hard to get filled on low volume, so sometimes you have to bid like 2 cents, and if you bid 2 cents, it cuts your profits in half at the end of the day, which is not bad by any means. But I do really appreciate those 1 cent fills, and I know that with very, very, very far out of the money, low volume, really, really cheap options. So anyway, so if you bought the calls in the inverted head and shoulder setup, and then you kind of sold at the target today, you're looking at an entry point of 1 penny per contract, which is $1 per 100 shares. And you know, at the peak they were worth $42. So what you're looking at there is a 419,900% just explosion. I mean, insane. It turns $100 in almost $420,000, $419,900. I mean, just insane. The profit there is just massive, and it was just really crazy, and just a massive move in Chesapeake. So a little bit more risk there, obviously, because you're taking the swing trade, which means you're holding overnight. But if you look at the swing trade versus what I think was the optimal day trade, if you buy at the open at 40 and sell at the peak around the mid 70s, you know, that's only like 750%. You know, you're getting, you know, 10x, almost, you know, 50x that by taking the swing trade there. And obviously just a phenomenal payoff for a very low amount of capital. You probably cut the profits in half if you did like 2-week expirations, and about a quarter if you did 1-month expirations. That'd probably be about 100,000. But I think you can pretty confidently make a shorter term play here. And the 1 week, I think, were the right calls here. They, again, about 400 grand from $100. This is pretty good. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. I mean, this is like luck-in level movement. And it was all based on, like, there wasn't even news. It was just like, people are buying oil companies. We better buy oil companies. Computer go beep boop. And that's basically, it just exploded. So a lot of it's an element of luck. But a big chunk of it is like, I've traded these guys a lot before, so I kind of knew like they have the potential to do what they did today, which is go up, you know, 200%. They have the potential to triple in a day. I mean, in the past 2 days, they went from $11 to $75. And you really have to be in sync with the stock. And this is one of those stocks where, like, I knew that. And it was, like, within me. For the execution wasn't great. For the day trade, I didn't get the notification. I have no idea why. And so I probably should have been trading it, but I was trading another play today, INV, this morning, that went up about 10x. I got about 500% out of it, so pretty solid there. I'm really happy about that. So most of my attention at the market open was on that stock, and because of that, I kind of glanced over the pre-market gainer screener, which had this on it as a pre-market gainer because they went up like 40-50% in the pre-market. But I wasn't focusing on that because I was on another trade that was, you know, more pressing at the time. So missed out in the morning on the day trade. And as for the swing trade, it was a really obvious inverted head and shoulders. I just I didn't go back to look back at the stock. I didn't put it in my calendar. Usually if I have a company I want to look back at, I'll put it in my calendar and I'll see it in my calendar, and then I'll go back and look at it when it comes up in the calendar. But I didn't do that here, and so I kind of missed the swing trade there, which a little bit sad, but definitely something to learn from. And if I can pull off one of these trades, I will definitely be getting tons of monitors so I can always have quotes on stock, which is super cool. So thank you guys so much. Hope you get a ton of value from today's training, and it was pretty freaking cool. So smash the like button if you thought it was cool, and have a great day. Bye.